Hello, my name is Miss Jones, and I teach elementary school math. Welcome to my channel, Miss Math Jones. So today we're going to be working on third grade, Eureka Module 3, Lesson 13 homework together. Now, our objective for this homework is to practice using the distributive property strategy in multiplying by 9, using the knowledge that 10 minus 1 equals 9. So basically, we're going to be multiplying numbers times 10 and then subtracting a group to make multiplication a little easier. Now, this is just a strategy. That does not necessarily mean you have to use this strategy, but this is just a strategy that we're learning to help us with our multiplication. To start with number 1. Now, we'll notice that number 1 has 4 parts. It has a part A, part B, part C, and part D. So the top half of your page is 1A and 1B. So we're going to start with working on 1A. All right, now the instructions for number 1 says find the value of each row, then add the rows to find the total. It says each unit, that little cube is a unit. Each unit has a value of 6. So that means for problem 1A, every time you see one of these little units, then that little unit is equal to 6. So first, we're going to focus on the actual equation we're trying to solve. We're trying to solve 9 times 6. That's the equation that we're actually trying to solve. 9 times 6. All right, so we're going to break apart part of that equation so that we can make it a little easier to solve. All right, so we're starting out with 9 times 6. And we're going to use a number bond to break apart the 9 into 5 plus 4. Now, where I received those numbers from, I looked at those little gray units, right? So we have dark gray units and we have light gray units. If we look at the dark gray units, we have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, each unit is worth 6. So the equation 5 times 6 right here, that's where they got that from. 5 unit cubes, and each unit cube has a value of 6. And 5 times 6 is 30. Now, since we're working with sixes, you can go ahead and create a 6 ratio table. And the great part about these problems are we don't have to go past 5. So you can create a 6 ratio table, but the highest that you have to go is actually 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as always, we make 6 little counters. Okay. And we'll go ahead and fill in our ratio table. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 6 is 18. And 4 times 6 is 24. And 5 times 6 is 30. All right. Now notice we only are worried about the 2 equations that make up 9 times 6. And the 2 equations that make up 9 times 6, or that 9 times 6 is made of, is 5 times 6 and 4 times 6. And we have the answer to both of those here. Now again, 5 times 6 was already solved for you here. We just have to write the answer to 4 times 6. And the answer to 4 times 6 is 24. Now at the bottom, you're basically filling in everything that you completed at the top. So you're just rewriting it. All right, if we look at the very first line in the box here, we see that it says 9 times 6 equals 5 times 4 plus 6. Same thing that we talked about in the number bond. All right, now here they have 5 times 6 plus 4 times 6. Those are the two equations that live inside of 9 times 6. And then we solve each equation. 5 times 6 is 30. And 4 times 6 is 24. So you write 24 in that blank. Now that we've solved both equations, 5 times 6 plus 4 times 6, we add them together to get our answer. So 30 plus 24. 0 plus 4 is 4. 3 plus 2 is 5. So that means that 9 times 6 is 54. Now, could we have gotten that answer by just knowing our 9 facts? Yes. Could we have gotten that answer from a ratio table? Yes. Again, this is just a strategy. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to use it, but it's good that you recognize it because you may see something like this on the STAR test where they break apart a larger equation just for you to put it back together again, which is the reason why we're learning this strategy. All right, so we've completed 1A. Let's look at 1B. This time the equation that we're solving is 9 times 7. And each unit has a value of 7 this time. So we'll write the equation 9 times 7 up here. All right, and make a little number bond. 9 is made up of 5 plus 7. 5 plus 4. All right, and so we're going to end up with two equations. Because 9 is made up of 5 plus 4, we're going to end up with 5 times 7 plus 4 times 7. The dark gray unit cubes represent 5 times 7. The light gray unit cubes represent 4 times 7. So let's look at the dark gray unit cubes first. All right. Now we already said that 5 times 7 represents the dark gray unit cubes. And since we know we're multiplying times 7, we can go ahead and create a 7 ratio table. And again, we only have to go to 5, so it's not a very long ratio table. Seven times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35. All right, and we're only going to be using 4 times 7 and 5 times 7. All right, so let's look again at the dark gray unit cubes. And we have the solution for 5 times 7 now, which is 35. So we write 35 in that blank. Now let's look at the light gray unit cubes. There are 4 of those. So in the first blank, we write a 4. Now we have the equation 4 times 7. And we know from our ratio table that 4 times 7 is 28. All right, now just like with 1A, we do the same thing with 1B, where we use all of the work that we performed at the top to fill in all the blanks in the box at the bottom. All right, so the first line says, and this is the first line, 9 times 7 equals 5 plus blank. We know 5 plus blank is 4. So 9 times 7 equals 5 plus 4 times 7. Now let's look at the second line. Now we're looking at the two equations that live inside of 9 times 7. The two equations that live inside of 9 times 7 is 5 times 7, which I already wrote here, plus blank times 7. Again, put a 4 in this blank. Now let's look at the next line where we actually answer the equations or solve the equations. Now they solved the first one for us. 5 times 7 equals 35. 4 times 7 equals 28. Now we add those numbers together, 35 plus 28, and that will give us the solution to 9 times 7. Five plus 8 is 13. Write our 3 in the ones place, carry the 1 to the tens place. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. So our answer here in the last blank is 63. And we go ahead and write our answer up here to the equation. 9 times 7 is 63. So now everything at the top of this page should be filled out. 1A and 1B should now be complete. Now we're going to move on to the bottom of the page and complete 1C and 1D. All right, now as we look at 1C, we notice that each unit there has a value of 8. So that means that each one of those little unit cubes have a value of 8. And the equation that we are going to be working on for 1C is 9 times 8. Again, let's go ahead and write our equation here and use a number bond to break apart our 9 into 5 plus 4. So that means that the two equations that live inside of 9 times 8 are 5 times 8 plus 4 times 8. Now we can go ahead and create a quick 8 ratio table. You only have to go to 5. All right, 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 8 is 32. 5 times 8 is 40. And again, since the two equations that we're worried about are 5 times 8 and 4 times 8, we have the answers right here. So now all we have to do is fill in the blanks. First, we're looking at the equation for the dark gray units right here. All right, and we've just filled in the blank next to 5 times 8, which according to our ratio table is 40. Now let's look at the light gray units right here. How many light gray units do we have? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that first blank, we write 4. And now we have our complete equation, 4 times 8. Well, according to our ratio table, 4 times 8 is 32. We write 32 in that blank. Now, just like we did for 1A and 1B, all of the work that we performed at the top, we use to fill in the blanks at the bottom. All right, we're looking at the very first line. 9 times 8 equals 5 plus blank times 8. Well, in that blank, we know that 9 times 8 equals 5 plus 4 times 8. Now let's look at that second line. Again, we're going to be writing in the two equations that live inside of 9 times 8. So it says 5 times 8 plus blank times blank. We know that we should fill in those blanks with a 4 and an 8. So we have 5 times 8 plus 4 times 8. All right, let's look at the next line. Now here we write the solutions for both of the equations that live inside of 9 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. They already filled that in there. And 4 times 8 is 32. Now when we add those two numbers together, the solution provides us with the solution for 9 times 8. So we write 40 plus 32. 0 plus 2 is 2. 4 plus 3 is 7. So we end up with 72. 9 times 8 is 72. All right, let's move over to 1D. This time our focus equation is 9 times 9. All right, now it says each unit has a value of 9. So we'll go ahead and write our equation up here. We'll use a number bond to break apart our 9 into 5 plus 4. So this time we'll be focusing on the two equations that live inside of 9 times 9 as being 5 times 9 plus 4 times 9. And we can go ahead and create our quick ratio table of 9s. And we only have to go to 5. All right. Making my little counters here. Okay, 1 times 9 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 9 is 27. 4 times 9 is 36. 36. Doesn't want to let me write it. Okay, and 5 times 9 is 45. All right. So again, the two equations that live inside of 9 times 9 is 5 times 9 and 4 times 9. We have our answers for those here. And now we can go ahead and fill in the blanks. So we're going to focus on the dark gray units first. There are 5 of those. Each unit is worth 9. So that's where the equation 5 times 9 comes from. And according to our ratio table, 5 times 9 is 45. So you're going to write 45 in that blank. Now we'll look at our light gray units, and there are 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the very first blank, we're going to write a 4 because 4 times 9 is the equation that represents the light gray units. Now, according to our ratio table, 4 times 9 is 36. Now, the box at the bottom, again, we use all the work at the top to fill in the blanks. So let's look at the very first line in the box. It says 9 times 9 equals 5 plus blank times 9. Well, we know that that blank should have a 4 in it. Now let's look at the second line. 5 times 9 plus blank times blank. Well, we said the two equations that lived inside of 9 times 9 was 5 times 9 and 4 times 9. So in those two blanks, you should have a 4 and a 9. Now let's look at the third line here. That's where the solutions to both of the equations are going to be. 5 times 9 equals 45. And 4 times 9 equals 36. Now we're going to add those two numbers together to get our solution to 9 times 9. 45 plus 36. 5 plus 6 is 11. 1, carry my 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. Plus 3 more is 8. So our solution is 81. So in the last blank in the box, we're going to write 81. And up here at the top, in the blank next to 9 times 9, we're going to write our solution of 81 also. Okay, we've completed 1C and 1D. So that means now the whole first page should be complete. Now we're going to move on to the next page of our homework, which is the last page of Lesson 13's homework. All right, now here you have equations, and we have to go ahead and solve those equations and then match them to the clouds. So first we're going to write out the equations, and then after we write out all of the equations, then we're going to match them to the clouds. So we're going to write them out, solve them, then match them to the clouds. Okay, so let's look at 2A. It says 9 fives equals 10 fives minus 1 5. Now, how do we write 9 fives as a multiplication equation? 9 fives is the same thing as saying 9 times 5, right? So we know that 9 times 5 equals 45, which here is 45. They drew a line to the sun with the answer. Then they drew a line to the cloud with the equation. So basically, we're going to be doing the same thing. Now it says 9 times 5 equals 10 fives minus 1 5. Well, 10 fives is 50, right? Because that's 10 times 5. And 1 5 is 5, because that's 1 times 5. And if we write it out above it, then that's the same thing as saying 10 times 5 minus 1 times 5, or 50 minus 5. Okay, let's move on to 1B. So it says 9 sixes. Well, if we write 9 sixes as an equation, and we're here at B, if we write 9 sixes as an equation, then that is 9 times 6. And here they say 9 times 6 equals 10 sixes, which is 10 times 6, minus 1 6, 1 times 6. Okay, so 10 times 6 is 60. So we're going to write the 60 right here. So we have 60 minus 6. Now, what is 60 minus 6? 60 minus 6 is 54. Now, again, we're just going to solve all the problems on the left-hand side, and then we're going to start matching. So we're going to wait to match until after we finish solving all of the problems. Okay, we finished with B. Let's move on to C. You have 9 sevens here. 9 sevens. So 9 sevens as an equation is 9 times 7. It says that 9 sevens equals 10 sevens minus 1 7. 10 sevens is the same thing as saying 10 times 7. Minus 1 7 is the same thing as saying 1 times 7. So we have 10 times 7 minus 1 times 7. If you look here, this is where you write the solution for 10 times 7 minus 1 times 7. Well, 10 times 7 is what? 70, right? So in this blank, you're going to write 70. And 1 times 7 is 7, which they already wrote right here. And then we solve. 70 minus 7. 70 minus 7. Well, 70 minus 7 is 63. Now over here we can show our work with 60 minus 6. I have 0. I need 6. I do not have enough. Turn that 0 into a 10. That 6 gets turned into a 5. 10 minus 6 is 4. 5 minus 0 is 5. That's where we got the 54. And when looking at 70 minus 7, I have 0. 2, I have enough. No. So I'm going to borrow. The 7 becomes a 6. The 0 becomes a 10. Now I have 10 minus 7, which is 3. 6 minus 0, which is 6. That's where the 63 came from. All right, let's move on. So we've worked out 2A, 2B, and 2C. Now we're going to work out 2D, 2E, and 2F. And after we work those three out, we're going to match. Okay, so look at D. It says 9/8. If we write an equation for 9/8, that's 9 times 8. It says 9/8 equals 10/8 minus 1/8. So the equation for 10/8 is 10 times 8 minus 1/8, which that equation is 1 times 8. Now right here, we solve. And that's where we write the solution. All right, well, 10 times 8 is 80. And 1 times 8 is 8, which is already here. So we have 80 minus 8. So if we do our work over here, we have 80 minus 8. 0 minus 8. Can't do that. Go next door. Turn the 8 into a 7. And now the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 7 minus 0 is 7. So that means that 80 minus 8 is 72. Okay, let's move on to E. 9 nines. All right, if we write 9 nines as an equation, that is 9 times 9. So it says 9 times 9, 9 nines equals 10 nines minus 1 9. 10 nines as an equation is 10 times 9 minus 1 9 is 1 times 9. Okay, then we're going to write the solutions below, right here. 10 times 9 is 90 minus 1 times 9, which is 9. So we have 90 minus 9. Okay, we can do our work over here on the side. 90 minus 9. I have 0. Do I have enough? No. Go next door. Then 9 becomes an 8. 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 8 minus 0 is 8. 81 is our solution. Write it here. Circle it. Okay. Last but not least, we have F right here. And it says 9 fours equals 10 fours minus 1 4. Well, if we write 9 fours as an equation, that is 9 times 4. 9 fours equals 10 fours. So that's 10 times 4 minus 1 4, which is 1 times 4. All right, and now we're going to solve those equations. 10 times 4 is what? 40. Good. Minus 1 times 4. And 1 times 4 is 4. Now we have 40 minus 4. Okay, well, 40 minus 4. 0 minus 4, can't do that. Let's go next door. Turn that 4 into a 3, have to borrow. That 0 becomes a 10. So now we have 10 minus 4, which is 6. 3 minus 0, which is 3. 40 minus 4 is 36. Now the fun part. We match the equations with the sun and the clouds. Oh, all right. So the very first one was done. Now let's look at B. 9 sixes, and we said that was 9 times 6. So we're going to draw a line from the letter B. 9 times 6. Which is here. Trying to figure out a way to draw it so it's not crossing over the suns. All right. 9 sevens, which is 9 times 7. I'm going to draw a line from here to here. So I'm doing all the clouds first. 9 eighths, which is 9 times 8. Draw a line from here to here. These lines are crazy. 9 nines, which is 9 times 9. So we're going to draw a line from here to here. And then F, we have 9 fours, which is 9 times 4. And we're going to draw a line from here to here. Okay, so I drew the lines from the equations to the clouds. And so now we're going to, and I've already shown where we drew a line from the sun to the cloud. So should be a line going from the equation to the cloud, and then another line going from the sun to the cloud. And so your paper should look something like this. I like using 2 different colors just so that you can kind of see where everything is going. So I recommend using 2 different colors. So the line that goes from the equation to the cloud, you can use one color. And then the line that goes from the sun to the cloud, use a different color. And then that way you can actually see what's going on. Because a lot of times when you use a pencil for all the lines, then it kind of starts looking weird. And it's just lines everywhere. All right, so we've completed page 2. Congratulations. Lesson 13 homework is complete. You can rest now. Hope this helped. Have a great day.